Hey guys, Andrew here with Finding Inspiration in Dumbo, Brooklyn. I'm here with Amber Rae. Imagine a world without a speed limit, where human potential is not governed by what we're told we can and cannot do. The only fear is not giving enough, and the urge to share your gift cannot be restricted. That is the introduction to who Amber Rae is on our website. And that's really the world that she's trying to create, and exactly why we are so excited to have her here today. So below in the description of this video, you can see a little bit more about everything Amber's working on. Between the Passion Project, coaching entrepreneurs, the Bold Academy, an accelerator that is accelerating the life of some of the most accomplished and successful professionals around the world. Also blogging for Fast Company, and also sharing incredible stories on Revolution.is. So Amber, how you doing?
I'm awesome.
Very cool. So amongst all that stuff that we just talked about, my favorite questions is, what are you most excited about at the moment?
At the moment, I'm absolutely most excited about the Bold Academy. We just finished our second class back mid-February, and it was just a phenomenal 10-day experience. We brought 16 people, everyone from senior project managers at Adobe to engineers in the Valley, Googlers. We had someone working in robotics in Germany fly out. We had someone doing branding who did the branding for the Olympics fly out. And it was just this community of really inspiring, passionate, emerging leaders who want to figure out how to use their gifts really to create the most impact. And what was so remarkable, and what is really still sticking in my heart, is the fact that we became this family. And we were a family that united around these values of leaning into fear, being vulnerable, boldly experimenting, and really figuring out how to become your best self so that you can create a better world. And it was our second program, started about a year ago, and the first program was phenomenal, but we learned a lot. It was a 30-day program, and it felt like we were really we set the rocket to the moon and then built it as we went. And so taking all of the lessons and learnings from the first one, this last program we nailed it. So
Starting to click.
So I'm feeling really excited about that, and the potential of not just these academies, but the ultimate vision of really inspiring and touching and transforming the lives of 100 million people, which is my ultimate aim.
Unbelievable. So for people who are looking to bring people into their lives that are really kind of delivering and contributing value, what advice would you give to those people so that they can really surround themselves with those types of people that are contributing to growth and alignment, like we just talked about?
Yeah, I think it depends on where the person's at and what their interests are and who they're looking to meet. But everything from going to conferences and events where you're gonna find like-minded people to Twitter and social media can be a great platform for meeting people. The Bolds, Nate Bagley, he runs social media and communications. I met him because, as he says, he was stalking me online, and he ended up writing a blog post about what I was working on. And next thing I know, we turned into online friends. And he was helpful in working with he worked with me on the Domino project, and then he then later started helping me with and being a big part of Bold. And so I think that goes to show you that you can reach out. People are accessible online. And if you add value and find ways to serve find out how they're trying to serve the world, and find out how you think your talents could serve them, and see if there's a fit. So I had a client who she ended up working with Skillshare. She ended up working with this record label, Family Records, and a few other amazing companies, because she reached out to the CEOs and she said, hey, I love what you're doing. It really aligns with me because of X, Y, Z, and here are 3 ways that I can help serve your mission. Here's what it is, how it works, and why it works. I'm happy to implement one of these for free to see, if we're a good fit, and let's take it from there. And I think if you're trying to build a relationship with someone who is leading a mission or a movement that you're really passionate about,
100%.
Especially early stage when they need help, that's, serve them. So serve others if you want to, grow your community or build relationships that way. And then in terms of finding people kind of in your tribe,
we need to focus on that as well, because I think what you just said is absolutely a mentality shift that will serve anyone who gets to see this, or any individual, just tenfold if they make that shift from not what am I going to get, but what can I give.
Yeah.
When you are reaching out to actually think about that, like you said, 3 ways. If you're actually thinking about how can I expand my network, how can I bring people into my life that are actually doing the types of things that I want to be doing myself, it's not about what you can get from those people.
Yeah.
It is what you can give.
Yeah.
I promise you that if you do what you just said, and if you actually write down 3 things what you can give, you'll be so much more likely to talk to this person and to have them have a much better, more empathetic kind of receival of whatever it is that you're trying to get across, however it is you're trying to introduce yourself. So
yeah, and if you can find a middleman who knows the person, it can make a warm introduction.
100%.
That's always helpful. But I mean, sometimes cold emails will work too. I know that Charlie Hone began working with Tim Ferriss by taking this similar approach. And he actually, we were speaking at a TEDx together, I think 2 years ago now, and we met, connected, and he's awesome. And he shared that with me, and so that was like, I was like, yes, that's genius. And then I used it with some of my clients, and it worked. And so it's serving others.
I love it. So what you might not know is that Clark, our videographer, is actually a recent Oklahoma graduate. So go Sooners. He moved to New York in around Labor Day weekend of 2012 to kind of pursue his passion of music, the arts, really just doing something that means something to himself. And so for Clark and for anyone else who might get to watch this, who's in a position of wanting to pursue their passion, wanting to take that leap of faith like we just got to hear you take, what advice would you give to those people in that position?
Do it.
Let's stop there for a second. Do it.
I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Figure out is there a market for it? Are there other people pursuing it? Can you get in touch with them? And then just go out and do it. I mean, it really depends. So let's say Clark with, music and videography, I think the fact that you guys were connected, he came over here and before we even started this, he was talking about his passion for drums and music, and I said, I have this friend who, he, works in the music space. He's also a drummer, and he's trying to figure out how brands and, musicians can work together to further the mission of the musicians. And so I think, that's a great example of when you actually go out and you say, he moved to New York, he wanted to pursue these things, he did it. That's the first step, and that's the hardest step. And then once you're doing it, then it's, meeting as many people as you can who are aligned, and, constantly asking, if you meet someone and it really resonates, find out what they need and find out, how you can give. So a big thing that we do at Bold Academy is we're obsessing about what people need and what they can give. So, we started on day 1 and we had every person figure out the 3 things that they needed and the 3 things that they could give. And we matched people based on that. And people, we started this trend at Bold of always talking about what you needed and what you could give. Because that cuts the bullshit and actually goes straight to what matters. And so, if you meet someone along the journey that really resonates with you, find out what they need and how you can give, and then find out like 3 other people that they can introduce to you based on that. And Warren Buffett has this. He suggests always having 3 questions in your wallet. And so having what are the list of 3 questions that if you meet someone, happenstance, like what are those 3 questions that you want to ask them? So having that, and then really going to. It starts with doing it, then meeting people who can help you along the way, and actually serving people who are in alignment with your mission along the way.
100%.
And I think those are the first few steps, and then what happens is magic and serendipity, and things kind of falling into place.
Brilliant. So when you talk about what you just said there, which is what Amber Rae is about, is doing it, is taking action, is being bold and taking the first step. So, what is going on in your head to take action? What is the thought process when you're looking at, your drum set that you haven't played in 6 months? When you're looking at your journal that you haven't written in for a week? When you're looking at the kitchen and like picking up the phone because you're going to order food again? What's going through your head? What is a way that people kind of think about those things that are most difficult but also fulfilling? And what is kind of a shift that you think people can go from? So from thinking about those hard things like this to thinking about them like this.
Yeah, I think it's, it depends a little bit, but say, I'm scared of, like, let's go back to when I was in San Francisco, had this job that was comfortable, and I was like, I should be happy doing this. what, kind of balancing that. And, I even think that, so I think that's kind of in terms of the mindset.
Yeah.
And also, just again, like thinking about it as an experiment, not this is the way it's always going to be.
Yeah.
But how can you constantly just move little things forward? How can you set up meetings with 10 people that are passionate about similar things and, that can give you some insight and advice? How can you do research on the market to see if there's, opportunities there?
And with what you said there as well, with what's already happening there.
Yeah.
And I think that what's really powerful about that, not only in terms of if you're starting a business, is what's out there, but also if you're thinking about jumping off on a new career path, is to actually find someone who's where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Is rather than conceptualizing about what do I need to do to get there, what's step A, B, C, and then like whoever knows to get there. What you can actually do oftentimes, like you just said, what's actually happening out there? Who's actually done that? Because the likelihood is that, unless you're Amber and you're just blazing a completely new trail, that someone else has probably gone a very similar route before and actually done those things. Yeah. And you know what happens if you reach out to that person who's done what you want to do? If you reach out and you've already written down your 3 things of here's how I can help you, here's how I'm so passionate about what you're doing, here's how I can help you, that's how you get it.
Absolutely.
That's how you open those doors.
Absolutely. And even, doing informational interviews with those people who have done things that really resonate with you, find out, or that you think resonate with you. Because sometimes you think it's what you're interested in pursuing, but once you actually do, you're like, oh, that's not what I was thinking.
Yeah. And,
and also you being honest with yourself about the type of lifestyle that you want to lead. Do you want to start something big? Do you want to start a movement that is going to, for me, the scariest thing about like Bold and really the ultimate vision is that it may cause me to have less freedom. And so but kind of knowing that do you want to do something big, do you want to do something small, do you want to work for a company, like what are the, what does your day-to-day look like? Like think about when I wake up, I do this at this time, here's where I go. Think about like those day-to-day behaviors that feel really appealing to you, so you understand the type of lifestyle that you want to lead.
Yeah.
And once you're clear on that, then, finding someone who is in a similar position to where you want to be, asking them questions, asking them what's most frustrating, asking them what keeps them up at night, asking them, the harder questions are the things that, may not appear on the surface level. And also what enthralls them about the job and, why it's meaningful to them. But, make the conversation about them and really dig in to see if it's something you want to pursue.
Rock and roll. You dig it. So I want to finish with kind of just one general question is, I love getting to do this because, not only are you pithy and insightful, but because being around people like yourself really do inspire me to take action, to tell more of these stories. And, I love that feeling. And I'd love to hear what it is, what was the last thing that kind of filled you with that same type of inspiration to create, whether it was a conversation, whether it was a person, whether it was something that you were engaged in or that you created. What's the last time that you just felt that spark and that fire?
Yeah, I think that was last week when I was in Chicago. So I've been on vacation the past 2 weeks because I've spent a lot of hours on Bold over the last year. Totally worth it. But I was ready for, my friend got married last week, and then I was going to this Persian New Year event with Farhad's family. And I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to take these 2 weeks to kind of, take a step back. Sure. And last week in Chicago, I shot up in bed literally at 5 a.m. and I was like, I know how I'm going to inspire 100 million people. And I just like started mind mapping like crazy. And for me, it was really gaining that clarity around like, here are the different entities that I want to build within Bold. Here's how they'll work. Here's like how they'll create impact. Here's the possible revenue streams, and really gaining clarity on that. I've been on fire since because it helped me. Like from there, I was able to map out, well, here are the people that I need to talk to about this, and here are my immediate action steps of things that I need to create around that. And I did that for every single thing, including this book and including some other, ideas that I have around the business. Yeah. It's basically, connecting a lot of the dots of things that I've done from, this like coaching and like design work to, the actual academies, to building an imprint online, and like kind of putting all of those pieces together. Yeah. So I feel like it took me 4 or so years of how does this fit in with everything, but I feel like at that 5 a.m. aha moment where I shot up in bed by finally giving myself some space and downtime.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of the dots connected.
Yeah.
And now, more than ever, I feel really ready to build out the vision because I have complete clarity on, I think, how it works and how it can be sustainable.
I think that this is an excellent way to wrap this up, because what you just talked about was waking up at 5 in the morning. The moral of the story is that write it down, put it on paper, actually find and articulate whatever that is that you want to do next. Because if you're forced to look at that every single day, it is going to light that spark in your belly. You're going to know exactly what it is that you should be doing, and you're going to be much more inspired and motivated to go and do it, right?
Yeah, and use a mind mapping tool. I was actually visiting a friend in Chicago. Actually, that actually had a lot to do with it. I met my amazing friend Melissa in Chicago. We were just like heart-storming and, you know, until like 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning or something, and sharing kind of our different productivity tools, as well as we were just I don't know, we went into this, and through that she was showing me like how she does mind mapping and things like that. And it was when I started to think about everything I was doing as a map, it kind of shifted the way that I was thinking about it and sparked that moment.
Sure.
And so I found now mind mapping. Now I have this map constantly on my desktop, which shows me like the ultimate aim, inspiring 100 million people to live boldly. And then through that, it's, you know, all the different ways that we're going to do that, and like branching off with like ideas. And I can constantly build on that. I can cut it if it doesn't make sense. But it's kind of like clarity on a map.
100%.
And it's something that I can walk other people through. People get it immediately when I walk them through it. And, you know, and for me, what I found is once that I can articulate and what it is that I, you know, really am either trying to do or what it is that I mean to say, like for me, that's the most important thing, is the articulation of it. Because then I can, you know, can resonate with others and so on and so forth.
I think one of the most profound revelations of my life was that not having an answer to the question, what did I want to do with my life, was an answer. And that I needed to start figuring it out. So if you find yourself in a place of not knowing, just like Amber said, it's that the most important thing you can be doing is articulating that to yourself. Well guys, this has been a lot of fun with the trains going overhead in Dumbo, Brooklyn. Amber, if anyone wants to follow up with you, how can they check you out online and everything else?
Twitter, Hey Amber Rae, blog, heyamberrae.com.
You'll want to stay up with her. Revolution.is, her other blog, tells some of the most inspiring stories in the web. Definitely check out the Bold Academy. She's an incredible lady. We're lucky to have her. Thanks, guys. Signing out.